Hey guys, and welcome to my new YouTube video. In this one I'm actually going to be taking slightly different approach. This is going to be my first video of what I hope is going to be many in the future, where I spend 5 to 10 minutes talking about the game which I've just finished on the stream, and I might even do it for the off-stream game, but I'm going to focus on the game on the stream right now. So how it's going to work: for the next 5 to 10 minutes I'm just going to be talking about what I liked in the game, what I didn't like, the things that I absolutely adored, the things that I feel Bloodborne could have done differently, maybe even better in some cases. And yes, I know what you will say, Bloodborne is flawless, but no, Bloodborne has its flaws. I have to say, Bloodborne has a decent amount of horrible bosses, but we'll talk about it a bit more later. But yeah, that's how this video is going to be. Like I said, it's a new format, so I hope some of you will enjoy it. If at least one of you enjoys it, I'm going to be happy. If not, well, you can always check out some of my other videos and enjoy those, hopefully. But anyway, let's get back on topic, so let's get the show on the road. So first thing first, let's make this clear right on the start. Bloodborne is a fantastic game. It's a masterpiece of video gaming in my opinion, and it's an easily 10 out of 10 game if you're a Soulsborne fan. If you're not, if you just like action RPGs, I would still make it at least 8, if not even 9. But as with every other game, this game also has its flaws, which I will be discussing later on in the video. So I'm just telling you that so you don't get surprised when I'm being a little bit negative about certain aspects of the game, but every game has them. And actually, while I'm on that, let's start with something that still bothers me to this day. This game is still an exclusive to PlayStation 4. I can understand why, it's a Sony. Of course, they own the IP, I get it. It's most likely not going to change. But we have Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, Elden Ring is going to be available on the PC as well. We have all the Soulsborne games except Demon Soul, but that one came out, you know, when dinosaurs walked the earth. We have all of them on the PC, and then Bloodborne, which came out the latest I think out of them all except Sekiro, is still not available. If I hadn't been gifted PlayStation 4 by a really good friend of mine over the summer, I would still not have the chance to play it. And you know how sad that would make me? Because I've been wanting to play this game for a long time now, and I remember there were rumors about it coming as a PC port sometimes around January or February of this year. Got me so excited, you know, but then as the year went on, nothing more came out of that. It was all just rumors, and nothing happened, of course. Then I had the chance to play it, and I realized how much I've been missing in my Soulsborne collection, how good this game is, and I just feel so bad about anyone who doesn't have the chance to play this game due to it being locked on the PlayStation 4. And with PlayStation 5 coming around and it being announced for the PlayStation collection, I just don't see it coming out for PC anytime soon, sadly. So I think we might be looking at another Demon Soul. It's been how much? 12 years and it's still not available on the PC. I think this might be the same. Which sucks because I think they're locking themselves out of so many potential new fans of the game. Like when I'm looking online, Dark Souls is so popular, while Bloodborne is just as good if not better in most of the cases. It just doesn't seem to have the popularity that Dark Souls have because it's so open to anyone who has computer. It's a shame, but yeah, what can I do about it? Nothing, neither can you. So we can all just hope it's going to be out as a PC port eventually one day, so everyone gets the chance to enjoy it. But for now, is it worth to buy PlayStation 4 to play only this game? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. And then we get to graphics. Graphics is generally not the area where I can talk so much about, because I don't really know how to talk about graphics in the games all that much and all that eloquent. But I have to say I love the gothic style graphics we have in Bloodborne. It feels so dark, mysterious all the time, you know. It really gets you invested in the whole world. You know, just taking one look at the moon changing when you defeat Rome later on in the game makes you go wow, you know. It looks so good. Like the whole game, starting from the town, you go to the villages, you go to the lakes, you go to the woods, you go to all over the world, to all kind of different locations, and everything really looks and feels so nice. Like quite so nice. Graphics is definitely up there, being really good. One of the one of the better looking Souls game, I would say, you know. Art style is really amazing and good job to the team for delivering to that. But then, alongside graphics, one thing which Bloodborne does better than most of the games, not only Souls games but most of the games, is boss music. Like, I know outside of the boss you still have music, but you know it tends to get lost, you know, a bit. But somehow the boss music gets stuck in your ears and you can't forget it. Like, I don't think there's a single Soulsborne boss which I could say has bad music to it. If you got some time, go to YouTube and Google any of the music, especially from the DLC. I think music from Ludwig especially was good, if I'm not mistaken. Like, the music on Bloodborne bosses is so fantastically well done that I can only compliment them so much in the end. But if you really want to see, check it out on YouTube, check it for yourself, you know, just take half an hour, check all the songs for all the bosses. Well, okay, you cannot do them all in half an hour, but go through a few of them in that half an hour and you will see what I mean. You will see what I mean. The music is a masterpiece in this game. It's so well done and it fits every boss so nicely. And like I said, even outside the bosses it's pretty good, but not as noticeable as it is on the bosses, sorry. Alright, so next thing I want to talk about is armor and weapon in this game. And about that, I have to be honest and say I am a little bit disappointed with the way gear looks like in this game. Like, if you take half an hour now, well, not even half an hour, if you take 10 minutes and you check it out and you equip, like, you get a main equipment, you equip all Gascoigne and you equip most of the sets in the game with maybe a few exceptions, I think you will notice they all follow the same trend. I get it why, this is a Lovecraftian game, it's Gothic style and there's only so much they can do, but I don't know, I was kind of disappointed by the lack of creativity when it comes to designing the armor sets in this game. The ones that are designed are like really well looking, I like them, I quite like them, but I'm just disappointed in the lack of choices, you know, I'm just disappointed with that. But on the other hand, then you get the weapons and you see how amazing they look like and how well they interact between one-hander and a gun and two-hander. So when you're wielding, for example, Ludwig's Holy Sword, I think it's called, like the one you can buy early on in the game, and the way the character uses it as a one-hander and the way it uses it as a two-hander is fantastic, you know, like he's got the sheet on his back. When he's using one-hander, he just unsheathes the blade and uses it. When he wants to use it as a two-hander, he puts it back in the sheath and then the sword actually forms a two-hander together with the sheath, and it's so nice. As well, one of my favorite looking weapons in the game is the Scythe of German. As well, amazing looking. Then you got the saw as well. You got huge cannon as well, the flamethrower. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, it makes sense to me because armor is in a way limited to the art style of the game, sure, but the amount of creativity that went to designing weapons compared to the lack of creativity that went to designing armor, in my opinion, is weird. It just doesn't make any sense and it's a shame. You just think about Dark Souls and how many different sets of armor it has, or different looking sets of armor it has, and you can choose to be whatever the hell you want in the end, to be honest. And that's like one of the things which make you always want to change gear on Dark Souls to experience something new. This one, honestly, I've been trying to change just for the appearance, but I don't really get too much satisfaction about changing it one bit. It all looks very much the same to me, at least. But maybe I'm wrong. Am I? Please feel free to critique me down in the comments on this subject. And while we are on the topic of gear, one thing which I really don't like in Bloodborne, and this is shown a lot more in Bloodborne than it is in Dark Souls, is the fact that gear is almost insignificant. Like, not insignificant, like it doesn't matter at all, but like the gear upgrades are almost insignificant. Like, you can get throughout the whole game using the hunter gear from the start of the game, go through area by area getting the other sets, and you will notice the other sets are barely an upgrade. They're like minimal upgrade, but that's about it. Like, I would say, not even trying to exaggerate, the only area where you really need to change the gear if you are a new player or not so experienced just yet is Nightmare of Mensis and the frenzy debuff you get on the start of the area. It matters a lot over there. And maybe on the third boss in the game, Blood-Starving Beast, Like if you can get some poison resistance, that's amazing. But outside of that, you will not notice a difference if you're wearing the hunter gear or if you're wearing whatever else you get by the end of the game. It's very small upgrades and it's not going to make a major difference one bit, which sucks. Like of course we have Sekiro, which is too much on one extreme, doesn't even have the gear, but this one has the potential. This one has so many possible combinations to use, and then regardless of the one you use, you will barely notice any difference except for the change of fashion. But I'm guessing in this day and age, in 2020, fashion is what matters the most, not the actual stats on the gear. Shame. But anyway, without dwelling too much on the negatives, let's move on to something which is done really great in Bloodborne, and that's the world design. As soon as you step out of the clinic on the start of the game and you look at the city, you are in Ave, and that continues throughout most parts of the game, going from the city, then moving on to the Forbidden Woods, which is a great area in itself, or well, going to Henrik's Lane before that maybe. Again, feels so completely different to the first part of the game. Like each area has its own soul in a way, you know, has its own atmosphere to it, of course, but they all look really good. Even the Hunter's Dream, you know, where the workshop is located and you see all the graves of the victims, knowing that you are just one of the hunters who is passing by, you know, they serve as a reminder that you too will either perish one day or ascend. It looks really good and I love the way it looks like. And one thing which connects well with the world is the NPCs. I'll be honest, I know one specific person is going to critique me on this, but I did miss a lot of the NPC related stuff on my first playthrough, but then I went on my second and on my third I did a lot more of the side quests and whatnot, and I really got to like them. Father Gascoigne and his wife and his two daughters as well. That side story is so nicely and so well done. Like I did not know it until my third playthrough, but if you do something to the little girl in the house, she's actually going to venture out later on in the game and look for her father, and that's going to end up very interesting. I'm not going to spoil it over here, but that ending is so like nice and really surprises you in a way, I'll be completely honest. It really does surprise you. Then as well, when you find his wife on the rooftop next to where Father Gascoigne fight is, I actually got to understand. I don't know what happened. There's two explanations. One of them is that he killed his wife and she came out looking for her, and the second explanation was that the villagers killed her because of who Father Gascoigne became, and then he absolutely went berserk and just murdered all of them. And that's just one of the side stories, you know. There's the crow, Ellen the crow as well, in her hunt for Henrik, I believe he's called, and few more in the game, of course, trying to enlist everyone to the church, and everyone having its own destiny, you know, some of the destinies being intertwined as well. You know, there were so much thoughts put into the side quests and the side characters to this game, but at the same time, they don't, if you decide to ignore them, it's not going to affect your main story, which is amazing, you know, because it would be so bad if you came like 40 hours into the game and then you notice you haven't done something with Father Gascoigne's daughter and you cannot progress with something, or you cannot obtain some weapon maybe. So it's really not so important to the main game, but if you put some time and effort into it on the side, then you will for sure enjoy it. And now comes something which to this day I still don't fully understand, but I can appreciate it, and it's the story of Bloodborne. The story of Bloodborne is one of the most complicated stories I've seen in a video game. I went throughout my whole first gameplay being confused 60% of the time at least, if not more. I finished the first one and I had to check YouTube videos to inform myself on what is actually happening, what is what, who is who, like how is this linked to this, like where is he coming from, why are we suddenly in the nightmare, what's with the hunter world, who is alive here, who is dead, who is dreaming. It was so confusing to me, and it still is. I'm not going to pretend I know much about it. I've checked 10 videos in the meantime, and I still cannot fully understand the nightmare and the living world completely. I'll be completely honest, it's quite hard. I'm starting to get grips with the story of the hunters, with the story of the church, you know, with all the main characters, you know. But if you ask me now, hey Durbem, can you tell me the whole story of Bloodborne? I'll give you 10 minutes. I would most likely ramble around, not making any sense, because that's how complicated I found it out to be, you know. So, listen, I've been trying to catch up and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, but for the first time player, if you are just jumping to Bloodborne tomorrow, expect to be absolutely wrecked with amount of information thrown at you and absolutely confused, because a lot of them will not make any sense on first sight, guys. So yeah, it's going to be interesting if you are a new player for sure. If you are an experienced player, I would like to know how much time did it actually take you to understand the whole story, or well, majority of the story, because I'm not even sure if anyone can understand the whole story and everything related to it. I would love to know that. Alright, and now we get to what for me is probably the most important part of Bloodborne. It's combat against bosses. You know, as much as I love art styles, as much as I love NPCs, as much as I love story, even though I don't understand it a lot of the times, as much as I love weapon design, as much as I love all of that in Bloodborne, in Souls games in general, what always attracted me the most is difficult bosses against difficult boss fights even, sorry. That's the most important part for me. And I would like to say that Bloodborne excels in that a lot, but at the same time, and this is of course not only Bloodborne, this is the same stuff for every Soulsborne game in Sekiro. This game has a lot of bad bosses. Top of my head, Celestial Emissary, horrible boss, with little to no background story to it. Well, it has a little bit, but again, not too much. Then you have Witch of Henwick, a boss that has so much potential, absolute train wreck of a boss, so badly designed. I was trying to check some lore behind it as well, nothing interesting. Cleric Beast, again, Hunter turned Beast, that's about it. The fight itself, I know in the video I've died, I know, but in my 3 playthroughs which I've done so far, I only had 1 death, and that was on my first playthrough when I was just meeting the boss for the very first time. So that's 3 bosses. Which one was it in the DLC? I think it was Living Failures. Especially considering it's a DLC, it only has 5 bosses. And then Living Failures, which makes for 20% of it, is just an overhyped normal enemy. I don't really want to go through every bad boss, but as with every Souls game, this one also has quite a number of bad bosses with not so interesting lore behind it. So how I look at it, if the boss design is bad, but the story is good, I can sort of understand its place in the universe. But if the story is bad, the design is bad, the difficulty is low, then I'm just not going to like that boss one bit. But enough of the bad bosses. Let's talk about Ludwig. Let's talk about Kos. Let's talk about German. Let's talk about Amigadala. To some extent Ebritas as well. And let's talk about Father Gascoigne. And weirdly for me, Blood-Starving Beast as well, because that was my first difficult boss in the game. Bloodborne has some amazingly designed bosses, with some of them having such a great background, like Father Gascoigne, of course, I love that one. Ludwig, Kos as well. I forgot Lady Maria, but how can I not talk about Lady Maria? I'm not going to talk about specific bosses in this video too much, because you can check my other video for that. But I just have to say, Bloodborne has so many good bosses, and DLC really takes it to another level. And I love the play style, the combat style in Bloodborne, both the bosses and the boss. Because if you ever check me playing Souls games, ever, I am an aggressive player. I don't like defensive style too much, except on some specific examples like Amigadala, where you kinda have to be. And this game plays to my strength. It's aggressive, and it requires the player to be aggressive, be fast. The same defensive play in this game is going to work out. If you're a defensive player, you're always going to be one. listen, it's not my playstyle, but I'm not, who am I to judge anyone who plays defensively? You play what you like to play, but I just love that this game plays out so fast that it forces the player to play fast as well. You know, the combat just goes like mad in most of the cases, and it's so punishing, you know. Like on my very first playthrough of the game, I had, including the DLC, 400 deaths. I know that's a little bit excessive, but I struggled on some of the bosses like quite a lot, and it took me a long while to get used to the combat being that much faster than it is in Dark Souls, you know, because in Dark Souls it can be laborious in a way, it can be slow, and Sekiro is all about parrying, you know, whereas this game, I was able to finish it with minimal use of parries, with the exception of like maybe the first boss and few other cases in the late games, like normal enemies and whatnot, but very limited use. So yeah, I do very much like the combat in this game. It's fast paced, it's interesting, it's punishing, it's cool. The weapon animation are cool as well, if that does any difference to anyone, you know. But few bosses are bad, that's for sure, and some of them are like horribly bad, but a lot more bosses are good. So yeah, that's more important. Alright, I feel I talked for long enough. I'm actually just noticing it's been more than 20 minutes of this video, so I don't really want to extend it for way too long. And to be honest, I kind of ran out of topics. Like, we went through some of the general stuff in the start, exclusivity issues, graphics, music, we went through weapons and armors and the issue I have with especially the gear not being as important. What else? We went through some of the world, NPC stuff, like side stories and whatnot. I went through the bosses and the gameplay, why I feel some bosses are good, some of the bosses being bad, what I like about combat. I mean, I think the only thing I can still mention in the end is like maybe some of the things which I would have done differently. There's not too many, I'll be completely honest. There's one thing that sticks to my mind that I would have loved if it was different, and that is that you can teleport directly from lamps to lamps, instead of having to use lamp to go to Hunter Dream, then from Hunter Dream to another location. I don't understand that one bit. Like, what were they trying to like do? I don't get it. You still need to go to Hunter Dream all the time to upgrade, you know, buy stuff. So it's not like by doing that change they would have killed Hunter Dream. It wouldn't happen. So that's like a change. I'm not sure why it never happened. And anything else like no, I don't think so actually. Well, of course I would have liked it if all the bosses were good, but yeah, we went through that and that's a deeper issue. But no, this like one small thing really gets in your way after like 3 to 4 playthroughs and you consistently have to go lamp, Hunter Dream somewhere else, and so on and so on. Anyway, that's about it, guys. I don't know, I feel I've tried my best in this video, but it's my first video of this type where I just talk about subjects in the game randomly and try to explain why I like some things, why I dislike some things. I will try to improve on this in the future, you know. I will try to structurize it a bit more so you can know what to expect and when in the video. And that's it for this video, guys. It's been how much? 24 minutes. Thank you all so much for watching. I would love to talk about some of the subjects down in the comment. If you have any critique, if you have anything positive to say, feel free to. I would like to get back on that and see what you guys think about some of my points. I know they are not as well explained as you would come to expect from professional YouTubers, but I am not a professional YouTuber, and I'm not always that great when it comes to explaining why I like and dislike certain things. But I do speak from my heart, and I hope some of you can appreciate that. Anyway, look forward to that. If you like the video, like I said, please feel free to comment, like, and maybe even subscribe to the video so you can see more of these types of video and different in the future. If not, it's all good. Hope you enjoyed it regardless. Have a good night, everyone, or a good day, whatever it is. And I will see you in the next one, or I will see you on the stream. Feel free to check us out over there as well. Bye bye!